Alright, another video here. This video is regarding the staking of the roller table that I just fixed onto the shaft here of the balance here. It's there. Roller table, and it's a double roller, so there's a roller table and another roller on top of that, sort of a protection table. And then and I've got a staking tool. So what I've done is on the iPhone, I've taken pictures of it before it was disassembled, so I can kind of understand the direction of the table when I could have put it back in, so where the jewel was and things like that. So if I zoom in on this, right, I can basically see where the jewel hole is in relation to the balance. And then what I also did is I put a little blue dot on the one of the arms of the balance here, so I know that the blue dot means that's where the roller table is, and then I could left or right know which side and everything else. So and I know there's the gap here on the actual balance. So I'm gonna stake this back on. This is the first time I've staked anything, so this could be really good or really bad. But I wanted to videotape it just to show people that kind of got to plunge in sometimes and just do it and learn from how you're doing it and everything else. So the first thing I need to do is select the stake, and as I told my wife all the time, I love steak. So in selecting a stake, I've got a staking set I've purchased, and it's a very nice one. I cleaned it up somewhat. There it is there. And try not to crunch too much stuff in the back here. With this, I don't know how far down this is going to go, but it's good like that. So that's the staking set, and I've got a selection of stakes, and I know I've got to pick a stake that's got enough room for the pivot to get through, so I can basically the whole pinion or whatever, and this needs to go over the whole pinion, so when I tap down on this, it taps into place and doesn't ruin the pinion pivot and all that wonderful stuff, right? So I think I also need I think they're called stubs or whatever, but an end stub, so I can sit this shaft on that when I knock it down. Otherwise, there won't be enough support in the bottom of this. So this is what it looks like right now. And it's got no roller table on it or anything, just a plain old. See, how do I do that? I saw someone do this before, where you take your hand, put it in front, and then it focuses on your hand, and then you can there we go, there it is there. So anyway, enough of that. So if you've ever seen a roller before, the roller table before, it's just a round disc, and on the disc there's a jewel sticking up like this. So it's a disc with a jewel sticking up like that. So when you pick the stake here, the stake has to be just big enough to go over the pinion, fit kind of over the pivot and pinion, and be able to knock the roller table into place without damaging anything. So this here is kind of what the stake has to look like. I wish this thing would focus, but see if I can get this to focus here. Just hang on. Talk amongst yourselves. Talk amongst yourselves. See, zoom there, and then some kind of a focus would be nice. There we go. So there's the end piece. I'm trying to get this not to unfocus. So the table lays flat against that flat part there, and then these are my guitar fingernails, I apologize. And this groove here allows the jewel to sit inside the groove here, so that when you punch down, it doesn't damage the jewel. So that's what this thing is for. And you got to pick a flat piece, because all you're doing is tapping it down. And I think I saw a video a while back that when you tap this down, what you need to do is rotate it too, so you don't tap it in a kind of the table doesn't go on as crooked, right? So that's what you do. So that's the proper stake to use. So I just look at that with the roller table, right, to make sure that the combination of the roller, the tool, and the table, and the jewel are all right. So I've got the. I'm going to try to put this down here on my hand and get that to focus. So I just zoom in like this, and then I'm hoping it'll focus. There we go. So that's focused. So if you can see that, there's the jewel right there. Get my hand out of the way. See, up, down, sideways, which way do I go? There we go. And that little tiny thing sticking up is the jewel. And then when I put this on, if I can move this sideways a bit maybe, this fits right over the top of this, and it leaves some space for the jewel, so you don't damage the jewel when you punch down on this. So that's how that works. It's kind of neat. So that's why you kind of need a staking set to do this kind of work. So the next step is I've picked a stub for the end, right? And this is to basically make sure that the roller table has some freedom, right? And let me show you, see if I can figure out how to put this on to show you how that works. So this fits on top of the stub like that, like this, and then the staking set goes down there. Now what I want to do is pick a stub that has a hole that's approximately the right size and not too drastically oversized, because when I pound down on that roller table, I don't want the balance itself to be distorted. So I'm going to make sure I got the right size. Okay, so the first thing I did was I picked a stump. This is a stump here. It's got it's a flat stump, and this is for a two-piece roller. So the flat stump that I have here, the roller table will fit, or the balance will fit face up or bottom up on top of this stump, and the hole in there is just big enough to fit the pinion on the bottom of this balance. So I put that in there, I put this on top, and your roller table, this is a roller table here, should be jewel side up, and it should be perpendicular with the arms of the balance. So in this case here, the roller table, or it would fit on the opposite side. I just sort of grab the jewel here, which should be okay because it's supposed to be tough. So it goes on like that and perpendicular. So, and then you end up knocking this on like this. So I'm hoping that this whole freaking rig works. Now one thing I didn't do was that this supposedly shiny side up, but when I put this roller, took the roller off, I took it off and I was shiny side down. So I could in fact have a problem here if this thing is, if the shaft at all has got a problem. If it's cammed at all, sort of angled, I could have a problem here, because this would be the right way to put it on, and this looks like it goes on nicely. But when I put the roller jewel in, I ended up putting it in the other way. So this could be an issue, and I don't know yet. So I'm going to pound this sucker down after, but I have to line up. I have to line up the jewel so it's perpendicular. That's the first thing I need to do. And after I've lined this up so it's perpendicular, I got to get my my staking tool out and make sure that I've selected the right stake. So there it is there. Now I'm going to take this off and I'm going to center. I'm going to center the steak, so I'm just going to put this over here for a second. Now remember, this is the first time I'm doing this, so I don't want to hear any complaints on the videos or whatever. This is a little tool you use for grabbing steaks. I'm going to grab the steak that's used for centering, which is, I think, this steak here. It's the sharpest looking one. So what I'll do is I go down like this, put this steak in here, and this table is not locked yet. So make sure it's centered perfectly like that. Then I turn the back part here when I lock it. It's nicely locked there. Yeah, and I pull this steak out, and then I've got my other steak that I'm going to use that has the groove in it, like this. Make sure that fits in nicely, and that's going to go right over this like that. So I'm going to put the balance back on with the roller table on it. I'm going to try to do this without it flinging all over the place, which could be a problem, I don't know. So I just pick it up like that and put it down on here. There it is, and I'll just rotate it a bit so the camera can see. And I know I want it shiny side up in the roller table, but I'm going to see if that works. So there we go. Now when I fit this over the top, I'm going to try to get a closer view of this right now. Just hang on a second. Let me just turn it on first. Alright, there we go. This is the close-up. This is a close-up. This is a close-up. Yes, it is a close-up. That was my really poor impersonation of Daffy Duck. Anyway, so I got everything lined up here, and I'm going to put the staking tool down here. And what I got to do is make sure that the roller is, the jewel itself is in the center of this groove, so I don't loosen the jewel. So there we go. So that's in the center, so it's set up nicely. And then all I need to do is get my trusty hammer out and tap this thing down. And when I tap it down, very carefully, it should tap the roller in place. Now again, I might have an issue here because I had the shiny side the other way on the roller table, so we'll see if it causes me any grief. If it caused me a grief, I got to friggin' shellac the jewel and everything, so I don't want to go there with this. So let me just examine this really closely with my eyepiece here. So I think that's good there. So now I gotta tap that down and make sure that doesn't go anywhere when I tap it down. I think that is in place now. So I'll lift that up. It looks like the table is in place. I'll just take a look at this and rotate it a bit. There's the roller table in place. And then the next thing I need to tap down is the safety roller. So what I have to do, first of all, is find it. It's right here, and I'll do this one shiny side up. But the safety roller needs to be lined up with the jewel. So I think that what I'll do here is put this on top first, and then I'll make sure that I'll pull this out a bit just to make sure that's perfectly lined up, because it's not going to work if it's not lined up. So just move this around a bit. I think that's lined up there. Yeah, it's lined up perfectly. And I should be able to tap this down too, the same way. So we'll get out the steak again. And in this case here, I still should make sure that the groove in the stake is lined up perfectly, because if I don't line that groove up perfectly, then I could have a problem if that table, the safety table, goes down lower, right? Then I got an issue. So I put that in like that. There we go there. And now I have to tap down the second roller here. So try not to screw this up here. Have a look and see what I did. Is that in there? It's kind of flush there, so maybe it's in. It's a double roller, so I think that's all I have to do when I pound the second one down, is make sure it's in. So I think I got it in. I tapped it down, and there doesn't seem to be any movement there. So, and it's clear of the pinion, so there's no issue there. It looks like it's perfectly lined up with the jewel. So I think I may have done it. Yeah, and this goes in just over that first sleeve. So I think that's in. I don't know if I want to pound that anymore. I think I'll leave it like that. So I think I've got myself success. So that's what it looks like. And this is the video on how to replace the roller table with the jewel and the safety roller after. So now I'm going to put on the hairspring next, hairspring collet next, and line that up perfectly. Now I think I figured out where to put the spring and collet, so I've got to line up this hole here, like so, and then tighten this up, like that, and then what I do is I put the balance with the whole lot into this hole here, like that, and then the spring goes right on the top, and the stud is where the little red mark is. So I had to make sure that the stud of the hairspring was aligned at 45 degrees, pretty much with the bar here, with the where the jewel was. So I've grabbed that and I've aligned it, and then now I'm ready to push the hairspring collet back on. So I gotta make sure it's absolutely perfect, which I think it is good enough there. See if that works. And then I have to actually find a pivot, or sorry, find a stake to knock that down. So this shouldn't be that hard. So grab my little handy dandy tool here, and I grab a stake, and I think I had the right stake from before, but this is just, I just need a flat stake with enough of a hole to pound that in. So I'm going to try. See, that's really small, so I don't need much at all. Like this will do. So this stake here should be good enough right there. And it's already aligned, so, and this is just easy, I just have to push this in, so no big deal. Shouldn't be anyway. And watch that I don't ruin this, this whole setup here. No, I think it's in. I'm not sure though. So I just pushed it down, which should be good enough because this is very sensitive. I think it's in. It's tricky. So it's good to look at it with closer lens here to make sure I just use one of these lenses here, and just to make sure that the hairspring is in properly. I can look at it from the base. And it looks like it's in. So we're good to go, I think. Yeah. Doesn't look like there's a gap there at all. So there we go. So now the hairspring is in. I push that in place. It's aligned. And there we go. So this is the end result. I've got the just hold this with my tweezers here for a second. So we've got the balance on there. We've got the new hairspring in place, or the old hairspring in place. Should be in the right place. And we've got the roller table and the new jewel that I put in place. So now it's a matter of fitting it onto the balance to see if all this stuff works. So in this case, I just have to line this up, probably upside down, and fit that hairspring stud into the stud hole right here. So that's the trick there. So turn off the camera and line things up. I probably can do this on the table, but I'll do it on a block.